What's up, guys? Ryan from the MXG channel, and as promised, my last video was the 5 things I love about the Stark Varg. This is going to be the 5 things I hate's a strong word, but the 5 things that either annoy me or I think could be improved. Number 1, without a doubt for me, is the phone as the display. And this surprises myself because I thought this was one of the coolest things about it. I've showed you guys videos where the phone pops out. I think it's a very cool design. I think the way they've done the clip and the way the phone sits in there is awesome. I like the idea of it being an Android phone with an app. That all makes sense. But in the form it is right now, it's more annoying than anything else to me. For example, you know, it sits and the phone does go off, it doesn't go off, it loses connection, it doesn't lose connection. Sometimes it requires me to log back in, sometimes it doesn't, then the phone's locked. Sometimes it just does weird things, and it would just be less of a hassle for me, I think, just to have a wired display right there that just stayed right there and was somehow hardwired in, and wasn't its own operating system, just only had the Stark app and couldn't not be connected. I think that would be better than this phone setup. Just my thoughts. I could be wrong. There might be more specific reasons why they've done these, and that's another thing I want to say. These points, guys, there could be reasons that Stark did some of this stuff that I don't know about. This is just from my point of view as a consumer. Number 2 from the phone setup has to be the app itself. It's cool, it's classy, it looks great, but it's a little odd. Sometimes it doesn't save the rides. Sometimes I'll see the rides and then I'll go back later and they're gone. Or the way it breaks them into specific rides, I can't seem to figure out how that works or how long you have to be stopped before it starts the next ride. And so I think it says this bike overall now has 40 hours on it. That's not possible at maybe 20 at max. So I'm thinking maybe the phone and the bike got left on in the back of a pickup truck, and so now it thinks all that time was a ride on the bike. So I'm not sure how you keep all that stuff accurate. And then I said earlier with the phone set up, like the logging in with your email and your password every time you start up the app or whatever, is super annoying. I've gotten water on the phone a few times and it messes up the phone screen, shuts down the app. I have to stop, open it back up, which is not a big deal for single track riding, but for racing, in a racing situation, obviously the bike's not going to stop, but you're going to lose your display there that tells you your percentage and all that stuff. So you're going to have to try to get that back up, even in a race, to know what your battery percentage is. So that's a little bit annoying. Number 3 thing I hate about the Stark Varg, or annoy me about the Stark Varg, is the weight. I know a lot of people were upset when the new weight specs came out. I wasn't one of them, because I know that in the important scenarios with an electric bike, weight isn't something you notice. The important scenarios, I mean like turning. This bike feels lighter than my 450. This bike feels lighter than a 125 when you turn, because there's no rotating mass, there's no heavy crank. However, there are scenarios where you notice the weight. If you fall down on a hillside, you have to pick it up, you notice the weight. That's still not a big deal to me because that's a few and far between. You're not supposed to be laying down on a hillside, right? However, I'm not sure if it's the suspension or the weight of the machine or both, or it's how the suspension has to be valved for the weight of the machine, but you do notice the weight of this bike in the air. And where I notice the weight most is landing. There's a lot, when you land, it's a harsh landing and you get a lot of feedback into your wrists. And I think it has to do with the weight, the harsh valving, or both together. We haven't really touched the suspension on this thing yet, so more on that later. We might be able to adjust that and get some of that out of there, I hope. But, you know, if they could get this weight down 20 pounds over the next few generations, that'd be fantastic. It would be game over. Another thing that came to mind were the tubes. The tubes that come in this bike are super lightweight. They feel like a pool donut you would lay in. Here spins. So I'm like, what are we working with? I go to take it out, and I don't know what this is. It's a tube, but for one thing, it's all red, and it doesn't feel rubbery. It feels like I don't know. It doesn't feel like a rubber motocross dirt bike tube. This feels like something that a pool donut is made out of, like a plasticky rubber. Never seen anything like it before. That's what they are. It's like a plastic, and they weigh practically nothing. But we popped both of them within the first few days. Now we were doing some single track too, not just pure moto. Maybe for pure moto, if you left 12 to 15 pounds in them, you may never have an issue. We went down to around 10 to do some single track, and yeah, we popped both of them. And then lastly, the last thing, number 5, that's kind of annoying with this bike is the charger and the stand setup. To switch the charger from 110 to 220 or 240 charging, you have to take a top plate off the box and get your hand really down in there, or you have to remove the charger from the protective case. And it's just a lot of bolts. There's a ton of bolts you have to take out to take that top plate off or remove that charger from the case. And then that case is heavy. There's no good place to grab it if you don't put it in the bike stand. It's made to go in the bike stand, and we haven't really wanted to use that stand all the time, so we didn't leave it in the bike stand. And it's really awkward to carry if you don't leave it in the bike stand. And there's a latch on top of it to keep the door closed. It didn't work since day one. It's really just kind of annoying setup, and we'd rather just have something like the KTM SXE5 has, with the charger, with the carrying handle on top, is really all you need. I think if they could do something with a retractable cord, I think I'd rather have a retractable cord, the charger, and a handle on top, and they could keep that toolkit if it was me. But like I said, this is nitpicky stuff, guys, and you know, I've been told that I was a paid shill for Stark. So I had to come up with some stuff I didn't like about it. There's definitely stuff I would like to see improved, but just a disclaimer, this bike was not given to me by Stark. This is AOMC's motorcycle, and AOMC paid for this in full as a Stark dealer. So if you appreciate these videos, 2 things you can do to help the channel, help me, and help AOMC. You can grab your parts from AOMC.mx. That's gear, hard parts, apparel, whatever. The link's down in the description. Or you can call or email AOMC or me, and you can put down a deposit on your Stark. We're going to be getting some floor models soon, so we're asking for a $1,000 deposit, and you know, get in line, get a Stark, get it quick. You'll love this thing. We would love to have your business. So yeah, I appreciate all of y'all watching, and there's plenty more videos to come. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below, and maybe I'll make a video on your comment. Ryan with the MXG channel, thanks so much. See you in the next video.